Hello, it's Angela at Make Crypto Easy. So pleased you're here. Okay. Okay, so right from the start, obviously we want people to be set up safely and they need to be keeping account of what's happening. Can you just summarize that again? Just go into a little bit more detail on that again for us, please.
Yeah, the record keeping portion?
Yeah, the record keeping part. Would you mind?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the record keeping can become a little tricky, and because for different exchanges, the record keeping might be available, might not. I know for a lot of exchanges, it's completely private, so you have no account for what that is. So for a lot of those situations, we ask our clients to just kind of keep an Excel spreadsheet. The biggest thing that we look for is the four points of the transaction, and that's the date that you purchased it, how much you purchased it for, and then the date that you sold it and how much you sold it for. Those are the four biggest pieces for us as tax preparers to be able to calculate capital gains and losses, or whether it's mining to be able to calculate the income on it, or whether you sell it to be able to calculate the expense. So those are the four biggest areas that we need as tax professionals to be able to better help you during tax time. So yeah, so if people can keep track of that, then that'll be great. But again, most of these exchanges do a pretty good job. I know Coinbase just released a new tax report tool just like last month. That's really good. And so just having that in hand really just saves you a lot of headache come tax time. So.
Okay, cool. And so what's the biggest headache that you find when people rock up to you and they're concerned about their taxes? If you tell us about what some of your nightmares are and sort of what not to do, and then I think that sometimes helps people understand what they do need to do.
I think it's just the education piece. So again, it goes back to a lot of people. I think 2017 was kind of the year where cryptocurrency kind of became a little bit of mainstream. So everybody kind of jumped in the bandwagon and started trading away, not really knowing the tax implications. So we had a client last week who had over 30,000 transactions, and in his mind, none of it was taxable, but unfortunately it was. And so just the education piece, those are some of the things that we run into a lot. Just the education piece. A lot of people are not just educated in that area, and rightfully so, because it's so new. And just knowing, what happens every time I trade from Bitcoin to Ethereum, or what happens every time I use Bitcoin to get a Starbucks, down the street, yeah. Or what happens if I gift it, what happens if I loan it, what happens if I donate it. So just the education piece, I think it's the biggest thing. And that's what eliminates a lot of headaches. So.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And now we've got over 1,500 cryptocurrencies, and there's more coming on all the time. It's highly likely there's going to be some real contenders for the crown of being able to use for the daily transactions, whether it's Radix in the future or something else. So yes, fine if somebody's just got an account with Coinbase or GDEX, I guess. But what about if like most of us, you've got multiple accounts, maybe KuCoin, Binance, Bitfinex, Bittrex, over here in Australia, International Reserve, ACX, et cetera. What's your advice about that?
Well, that becomes interesting because at least for the U.S., and I can only speak for the U.S.,
of course.
There's certain requirements that you have to file on your tax return. For example, the FBAR, which really means if you have any interest or capital interest in foreign countries or foreign exchanges over 10,000, then at that point that's another requirement form that you have to fill out for tax preparers for us. So just really, again, just asking a lot of questions up front. But one of the things I noticed is, I think the U.S. in particular has a lot of strict rules, and they make it pretty impossible for you to spend crypto on a day-to-day basis for ordinary expenses. I know in Australia and UK, there's like, you can spend up to 11,000 and it's exempt. And so they make it a lot more user-friendly and to be adopted, and the acceptance there. I think the U.S., we're starting to get there. They're releasing the bill called the Fairness Act of 2017, which is kind of in the works now, where really it states that you can exempt up to $600 worth of crypto for day-to-day use, whether you.
Oh, big deal! $600.
I know. It's nuts because I
don't
feel
get
like
crazy now.
I feel like we're kind of running a little bit behind because again, a lot of these countries, it's either not taxable at all, or they exempt a good portion For us, unfortunately, every little thing that you do is taxed. So I think this is a good step forward, but it'll be interesting to see if it'll pass or not. So.
Okay. So it varies obviously all around the world. Here in Australia, if you currently, this is not financial advice, but a very good accountant, Angus, has told us very recently, if you invest in Bitcoin up to 10,000 Australian dollars,
that's
and
right,
hold that and don't trade it, and then use the proceeds, cash out and use the proceeds for personal, and you can prove it, you don't pay any gain on any uplift.
That's right.
Do that multiple times as well.
Yeah,
so lots of 10 grands.
That's correct. And then the U.S. is trying to do that, but unfortunately, we're only it's about going to be 600 if it does pass, which is not much, but it's a good start.
Wow. Okay, it's a start. And where do you see things going? Because I know people are worried about things. Should they get involved? Should they not get involved? Personally, I think nobody likes paying taxes, but if you pay taxes, it means you've made money. So particularly, we all like. The one tax we like paying usually is sales tax or GST or VAT or whatever, because that means you actually make profit. But if you pay taxes, then at least you've made some money. So what's your advice about people? Should they get involved? Should they not? How careful have they got to be?
I think, well, I might be a little biased here, but I think they definitely should get involved. I think this is something that's going to only grow from here, and the adoption process and acceptance process is only going to grow. Here in the U.S. already, we have four different states that allow you to pay your taxes in crypto, which is huge. So it helps with the adoption process. But I think for it to grow and for it to really hit mainstream like we want it to, I think we need to adapt some of the laws that other countries have. Like, for example, Australia, where you could spend 10 grand and not be taxed on it for personal reasons. I think a lot of people right now are kind of scared to use it for personal use, and that limits the usefulness of it. So I think if we can change some laws down the road, I think it'll become very helpful. So.
Okay, fine. Right. Well, what are the biggest headaches that you've seen? I mean, have you had some people come in that have never done anything in terms of their record keeping? Perhaps they've been in crypto since 2013 or something. You see much of that, or are people getting it together a bit more now?
No. I think what I'm getting is a lot of people just not reporting it at all. And so, the IRS is pretty clear that we have to report as capital gains and losses. So I'll have a client come in and haven't reported anything for the past 6 years. So having that conversation with them and really educating them, and like, hey, we probably need to amend these and include stuff in there. But people that come in with no record keeping is not really that much of a headache. It's just a little bit more work. We do have a software in place that can connect with the wallets, connect with the exchanges. We can easily kind of grab that information from them. But I think that the biggest issue is a lot of people just not reporting it. So Coinbase, for example, one of the biggest exchanges in the US, has about 30 million users, and only in the past 2 or 3 years. So in 2015, only 802 of them reported anything on their tax return. In 2014, 839. In 2013, only 500. So you can see that a lot of people are making a lot of money and doing all these things, but from a tax standpoint, they're just not being complacent. So just the education piece, it really just goes back to the record keeping education piece. So that's the biggest headache. It's telling these guys, hey, this is taxable. You have to report it. And so just kind of wrapping their minds around that. It's the biggest piece.
Okay, got it. And for anybody that's just joined us who don't know who we are, my name is Angela Wright. I run Make Crypto Easy. And I'm really pleased today to have Dan Vazquez here, who's the only crypto accountant currently in South Carolina. That's right, Dan?
That's right.
Yeah. So, he's your go-to man in South Carolina or elsewhere if you need. Yeah. Now, there are some good resources to find crypto tax accountants, and it's really essential if you're involved in crypto that you have somebody who understands, because a lot of our accountants haven't yet sort of upgraded their knowledge to this. So, I strongly recommend that you speak to at least one crypto accountant, maybe more, and see what he or she can advise you with. We've also got Eric Slonaker coming on shortly. Eric's going to be talking about Celsius Network, and Eric's community manager there. So I'm super excited about that. Just before we move on to that, Dan, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a tool that seems like it might be useful for people keeping account of their taxes, because nobody likes doing paperwork, right?
That's right.
And that's Zen Ledger. So zenledger.io, Patrick Larson's piece of equipment. Full disclosure, I know Patrick, but I don't have any financial relationship at all. It's just I know him, and I like to connect people who are great at what they do. So that looks pretty useful to me. That's coming live now, and I know he's been liaising closely with CPAs and so on to make what you have to do doable, because it makes life easier for your clients. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Any tools that we can have that will kind of cut all the day-to-day work will be great. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Any other advice that you can give to people? Any other useful tips or tricks in reducing the dreaded paperwork and not getting into trouble and not having a nightmare at the end of the year?
I think just record keeping is the main piece, and then the capital gains and losses for at least U.S. clients is broken down by short term and long term. So with the long term being more of a favorable tax rate at 15% for U.S. clients. So just being more aware when you trade and how you trade, and just kind of being aware, do I have this coin more than a year? That falls into the long-term capital gains, which is more favorable. Do I have this coin less than a year? More taxes. So just being more aware when you trade, I think is the biggest key. I think a lot of people in 2017 just got a little crazy and just started trading right away because the money was good and the trending was going up. But I think 2018, just being more aware of what you do. And people can reach out to us. We're happy to help. I mean, right now we're getting at least 15 phone calls a week, and so we're happy to help and educate people. That's what we're here for. So I think they can look up my information on your page, and so we'll be happy to help. So
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much indeed for saying that. And I guess if people are out of state, and they can contact you, and perhaps you can put them in touch with your trusted network or something.
That's absolutely, we have clients all over the U.S. So we have clients in Alaska, New York, everywhere. So we can help all over the U.S. It's just when we get out of the country, that's kind of what we'll probably refer out to somebody else.
Okay,
so,
great. Yeah. Great. So anybody inside Make Crypto Easy, you can contact us. And as you know, we've got a list of who we recommend for all kinds of things, including the dreaded taxes. And if you're seeing this on a Facebook Live, just put your questions in the comments, and either Dan or Eric will be answering as appropriate, I'm sure. So ask away. And what I love about the crypto community is everybody is so generous with their time and so open with knowledge. And we need to do that because there are so many sort of scams and frauds and Ponzi schemes out there. So we do need to keep everybody safe and make sure it's all done in the right way, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I've just got a question. Talking about spending crypto with no transaction records, there's satoshishouse.com, which accepts any coin that's out there, according to Angela, and allows you to buy whatever is on offer directly from the seller. It's a week old. So I never heard about that. There's new things coming up all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. And just one last thing before we jump over to Eric. I'm really dying to hear about hear more about Celsius Network. What's your advice on whether you're going to be paying taxes if you hold or if you cash out? Is there any difference at all in that now, or is you pay tax on all of it?
No. So for US, again, there's no taxable event when you buy and hold. The only taxable event is when you cash out for flats or when you trade for another coin. So if you just buy and hold, there's no taxable event there.
Okay. Excellent. Well, on that note, I think that's been really helpful for people. Thank you. There's often a lot of confusion. To have you here in your professional capacity, thank you very much. Last word, where can people... hodl.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, really, if anybody's going to be investing anything, then really you need to be... I believe you need to be prepared for medium to long term. And if you get anything that isn't medium to long term, it's a bonus. But there are so many variables right now. I mean, last year was a year of FUD. And now I think it's a year of MAD, right? And manipulation and disinformation. That's what's happening this year, because last year the banks and everything were laying low and trying to minimize the information. Now it's the cats are out of the bag, right? More and more people are talking about this. So whole heap of manipulation and disinformation. Where can people get in touch with you if they need to? Dan?
leadaccountingsolutions.com or my Facebook at Lead Accounting Solutions will be the best two places to reach out to us. So we'll be happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much for giving up some of your evening, and do stay on. And I'm going to bring Eric on. I'm really excited to be talking to Eric. Justin saying thanks, Dan. Everybody's saying thanks, Dan. Very cool. Love the beard. Okay. Thank you. And if you've got any questions for Eric, ask away. So I'm going to bring Eric on now. And Eric, welcome again. Thanks for jumping on the call.
There you go, unmuting you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you're a really well-known guy in the crypto coin trader community. You give a huge amount of time to moderating that community and helping everybody, stay safe and keep booting out the trolls and the scammers and so on.
Yeah.
And I know you're really picky about what you get involved in. So just tell us a bit, would you, about your journey in crypto and how you've ended up doing what you're doing right now?
Sure. So probably about a year and a half ago, I got involved with crypto. I'll still consider myself a noob even to this day. At a year and a half, there are a lot of people who have way more experience in the space than I do, but I've been fortunate to hang out with some of the better, well-known people in our crypto space and be a part of a team at CCT who have experience as far back as 2010, in the very early stages of crypto. So my learning curve was probably a lot faster than a lot of the other people. So I was really fortunate to get that experience and knowledge. And really, I became what was known as essentially the hammer of CCT because I just stood for basically integrity and being respectful and doing the right thing at all times. So that's kind of where my popularity grew from. And from there, hanging out with Joe Blackburn over at CCT, we get to see all these different coins come on, on our page and do these live interviews and experience and meet all these people. And eventually you start making connections. And from there, I ended up meeting some of the people from Celsius Network who brought me onto their team as their community manager. And everything has been fantastic so far with everything we're doing.
Fantastic. So tell us a bit more about Celsius Network and why you chose to work with them and what they do for people that haven't heard of it.
Well, as I was saying before with integrity and the respect factor, I've been offered a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of different coins that I just didn't believe in, or they seemed a little fishy, or, they weren't in it for the right reasons. They were money grabs or just up to no good. So Celsius Network comes along, and I'm a big research person. I have a friend, Ash, who is probably the most due diligent person you'll meet in crypto.
Yeah. So this is Ash Ralston, who's absolutely awesome. Ash from Cryptic. I'll speak with her quite a bit too. She's a
close friend of mine, and she basically says, do your diligence and dig around. So I literally flat out told the people from Celsius that I was going to look around, see if there's anything wrong with their history, and I couldn't find anything. If you research who Alex Mashensky is, he is an all-star in this crypto space. He came from, he's a 2-time Entrepreneur of the Year. He's the reason that VoIP exists. He created voice over IP tech and things like that. He created Trans Wireless, and he has 2 of the top exits for Arbanet and Trans Wireless in New York history. So when it comes to tech, who better than somebody who actually had the patents involved and back-end history of creating VoIP, right? So when I looked at that and I said, this guy has way more money than he could ever need. There's no reason for him to try to run off with, a $50 million hard cap. That's nothing to him. So that's why I figured it's somebody that I'm not worried about it being a scam or being getting into trouble with anything. That being said, joining the team, these guys, like I said, I went up to New York. They have an office. I got to meet them. It proved legitimacy, right? And what's cool with having Dan on for taxes is it's going to tie into exactly what Celsius wants to do, is instead of having to sell your crypto and cash out money when you need it, instead you can place it up for collateral in the Celsius wallet as an asset, and we will give you cash back as a fiat loan, depending on what country you're in. And it may be 30%, 40%, up to 50%, depending on which coin it is. The more volatile the coin, the less we're going to give.
Okay, just so nobody misunderstands that bit, just explain what you just said about the percentages. I don't want anybody thinking that's what they're going to pay in interest. So just clarify that a minute.
No, so essentially if you have 2 Bitcoin that you want to put up, Bitcoin's one of the more stable ones. So you may get 40% back in cash. That is your loan. You're taking a loan in cash. But the nice part is Bitcoin can drop up to 60% before they have to either put up more, close out your margin, or pay back your loan. So the less you take, the more margin you have for the market. They also have these people on the team that do risk algorithms for like determining how risky the market is based on how many longs are open, how many shorts are open, the market movement and things like that to protect them from having to close out any of the margins. When it comes to interest, it's actually really small. So your interest is only 9%, which is unlike anything you're going to get at a bank anywhere. So if you were to walk into your bank and ask for a loan, most loans on a credit card are going to be, besides your entry level stuff for like 0% for the first 12 months, it's really going to be like 18, 20, 24%
Really? Wow.
is a normal credit card when you have interest.
Okay.
With a lot of people in our area in the United States and things like that struggle, they have back end money they owe on debt on credit cards, and they end up paying that interest on it. They don't get caught up, and it just keeps snowballing, and they never end up catching up. So 9% is nothing in comparison. But the beautiful part of Celsius's wallet is the people who are putting up their Ethereum into the wallet, all our hold gang, the holders, all of that,
Yeah.
that Justin just said. So they're actually going to make 5% of it. So if they charge 9 and then we give the holders 5% back, we're only taking 4%, and that 4%, part of it goes to a reserve fund to protect people from defaulting on loans. So let's say somebody defaults on a loan and doesn't pay it back. The person who put up their Ethereum isn't at a loss. They're protected by the reserve fund, whereas Celsius Network may only profit, let's say, 1%. They're doing the reverse. Whereas a bank, you'll go and put your money in a savings account or a checking account, and you get less than 1%. Whereas they're going to take your money and give it to your neighbor and charge them 23, 24% on your money, and they're going to make money off you versus you making money off your own money.
Yeah. And debt is a terrible thing. It really is a terrible thing when it's handled wrongly. And so I think this is really interesting what you're saying. So just to recap, you're saying that you can buy Celsius Network tokens. You'll be able to, right? And then say you've got some crypto and you don't want to sell your crypto because we're all hodlers, right? So you don't want to sell your crypto, but maybe you want to buy some more, or you need some cash or whatever. So you're saying you can put your crypto up as collateral, and the more secure it is, more stable, like Bitcoin, for example, the more you can borrow against that, and maybe 40% or whatever. Sure. And then you're going to pay 9%, but if you're already holding some of the token, then you're going to get 4% of that back. 5% back or 4%?
5%. It'll vary based on how many people are using the network and things like that. Okay.
And then the proceeds from that, Celsius Network put 4% of that into a protection fund to help anybody get into trouble, and their margin is 1%. Is that right?
Basically, yeah. So it'll be, the numbers are going to be decimal points that vary, but give or take, the 1% is the overhead cost for Celsius to pay their employees and function and run the platform. And then the other is going to be reserve fund money that they use to protect defaults and things like that, so nobody's at risk.
Okay. So this is really, this is what I love about crypto, right? Because it's the biggest social and financial evolution in human history, like ever. It's all based on hard math, which was invented or discovered, however you want to put it, back in the 1990s. So it's super recent. I mean, it's math on a scale of Sir Isaac Newton's back in the 1600s, right? It's a big thing. Personally, I don't know why everybody in the whole world isn't having a big party to celebrate this. I was
saying, it's what's awesome what Dan is saying is, instead of a short-term trade where you cash out your money and now you're going to pay 20, 30%, I missed some of your numbers, on your actual trade, where you may have made 40%, but you just paid it all out to them to spend your own cash. Instead, you can take out the cash loan, go use it. When you're done, you pay it back. And what's even the best part of all of it is, let's say Ethereum goes up 150% by the time you pay off your loan. You don't lose any of your Ethereum. You still get it all back with its appreciation. So you may have still made money, but you don't miss out on the market growing by taking out some of your crypto. So it's a little different than we've seen, like the bad lending terms. Obviously we have BitConnect and like all the scams that have happened and all this crazy stuff, right? But that's not the same type of lending platform. It's more peer-to-peer. We're not promising 40% a day in interest, and taking your money and giving it to that person's money and things like that. You know, we're talking about 5% for the year. So it's a gradual holder's dream, right? If you're just holding your crypto and you're not trading it, then you're going to profit from this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really significant. This is the largest shift of wealth ever. You know, this potential, and when people understand and take the time to do their own due diligence and get good people around them, that's what makes a difference. And everybody else who's sort of watching on the sidelines is going to really wonder what the hell happened when their fiat, you know, is devalued even more. Just incredible. Okay, I'd quite like to share my screen and have you just talk us through a few little things, if that's all right. And anybody watching, don't think this is a love fest for Celsius Network. It's a love fest for crypto, that's for sure. Pure crypto, noble crypto, not the bloody MLM scams and Ponzi's, none of them. But I do want to interrogate you a little bit, Eric, about you know, maybe some of the competition, Salt, you know, and Etherlend, you know, and they're all doing good stuff. So I just want to talk to you a bit about that. But let me just see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, they've definitely done some good things, but we've took what they've done and learned from it to try to do a little better than what's going on here.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I think I can do this. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Okay, let's do this. So here we go. So this here, anybody can Google this. This is Celsius Network, right? And so just talk to us a little bit about the stage that they're at. For anybody that's not been here, I've only had a cursory look, and I'm gonna do my own due diligence after this. And but yeah, just talk us through about where they are. So they've got a pre-sale on right now. Over to you, Eric.
So our pre-sale, we actually reached our highest tier in bonuses. The bonus at 20% just ended. Which means we're surpassed $35 million raised so far on a $50 million hard cap. We promised our crowd that we would save $5 million for our crowd sale no matter what. Even if we reached our other $45 million, we would stop the pre-sale to save some for the average investor. Pre-sale was $10,000 US minimum. If you're in the United States, you must be an accredited investor. The SEC is cracking down on everybody, and we're following it by the book.
Yeah, and just talk about that a little bit, because maybe there's some people that are fairly new in, don't really understand about that. Just explain that, would you, Eric?
When it comes to the SEC, they believe...
Sorry, about if somebody's got to be an accredited investor, if you're in the US, not outside of it.
So an accredited investor is somebody who either can prove $1 million in assets or $200,000 a year income for the last 2 years, plus they have anticipation of more than $200,000 next year. So, I mean, if you have that, then that's fantastic. By all means, join in, buy into the pre-sale. Outside of the United States, you do not have to be an accredited investor. You do not have to prove anything. You do have to KYC, though. We are following KYC on all of our customers, our buy-ins.
Got it. And we outside the US really feel for you guys, you know, because you're shut out. Your little guys, normal everyday people, are shut out from so much right now. But anyway, things are changing. It's always ugly during a transition, but it is changing.
The other big thing you just passed by our app is that the other thing with the SEC is they say by token launch, you must have a working product of some sort. So we have a functioning app. It is in the Google Play Store. It is not the final version. It is our startup version of it. You can basically download the app, get into it, and request a loan basically to get in line if you wanted to. And that's due into part because Salt, you were just going to ask us about Salt and things like that. They are so far behind on their loans. They don't have enough liquidity to give out any more money.
Yeah, I've had that.
I've personally done it, but I have been told that if you try to request a loan, they give you an email that says they're almost $1 billion behind.
Oh, okay. Well, it just proves the demand, right? It just proves, and also nobody wants to be the only pony at the rodeo. So we need. It's healthy to have competition.
We love it.
We love to have other people in the space.
Yeah. If without competition, one person can just do whatever they want to, and they have a monopoly over a space. And whereas this is, even in the example, like if you Google lending for crypto, now instead of just one thing showing up, there'll be 4, and you can compare each different things and what you like about each one.
Yeah, and you did share with me a comparison chart, so I will be I will be sharing that with my group afterwards. And if you want to put that in the comments, Eric, as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I've met the guys from Etherland as well, you know, and they're really good people over in Switzerland and Europe, and you know, doing good work. So it's a bit of horses for courses, I think, but I'm really loving what you're talking about. And I know Eric the Hammer would have been so hard on these guys to make sure there is no, you know, nothing, you know, no skeletons, nothing that's suspect. So so just talk about this crowdsourced lending pool and this cash loan against your coins then, just a little bit more. You touched on it earlier.
So the lending pool itself is basically, you can put up your Ethereum. Right now we're starting off with just Ethereum, but the goal is to have the top 20 coins be a part of our wallet at some point. But for now, it's going to start off with Ethereum. And I believe they're trying to make Bitcoin available right away also. From that, hedge funds, family institutions, institutional funds, they can basically take that pool. They may take $100,000 or $200,000 or $1 million, let's say, and they may margin trade. You know, they can short the market and things like that. They have to buy sell tokens to pay back their interest. So they're not paying back, in Ethereum, they're paying back in sell tokens. And that'll be distributed over the Celsius Network community in return. So that forces a supply and demand flow for the token. That's the lending pool. When it comes to the cash loan, that is where you're putting up a wallet, Ethereum in your wallet, and personally taking a cash loan collateral against your own crypto. All the same interest rates and borrowing and I guess profiting apply. It's just a matter of one is going to be essentially you're doing it for yourself, and the other one is you're lending it out to a hedge fund or somebody you know, who can't get $1 million into crypto in one spot, because you go to Coinbase and you can only put in $500 on your first load and then $1,000 on the next one.
Okay, so just let's go into the safety about that a little bit more, because, you know, one of my two main strands is risk mitigation. I'm really strong on mitigating your risk in all areas. So for people watching that maybe it's the first time they come across this, they're thinking, well, I've got a little bit of crypto, and number one thing in risk mitigation, never talk about how much you've got. Never talk about how much you buy. You don't know what a crypto is going to go to. Don't say I bought so much of this or so many of this. Or don't do that. It's not cool.
Never.
It's not cool at all. You know, I mean, I was always raised, you don't talk about your money. It's just not a cool thing to do. So there we
Put a target on your back.
So yeah, and there's a whole heap of other safety things, but that's number one. So say somebody has got a bit of crypto privately and it's just sat there and they're hodling. Just talk us through the safety of them lending that money for what you're talking about, would you?
Yep. So talking with some of our tech guys in our Telegram chat, they said that they're going to use multiple different things to store. Sometimes there will be some of it on an exchange, but never a lot of it. Most of it will be in custodian accounts, cold storage wallets. I mean, the tech guys that are involved with our multi-layer security, they are all about it. The other nice thing for us is Alex has a lot of really good business partners in his past. He is a New York business guy. He knows the big shot business people. He has financial institutions that have agreed to partner with Celsius Wallet, and they will actually be helping with liquidity to make sure, like, if we need 50 million, if we need 100 million, whatever it may be, they were actually going to back those loans for us. And they have trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to the point where they can actually insure your money that no matter what, it's covered for you.
Okay. Okay. So
I can't technically name I can't name the partners for the financial institutes. Everybody always wants to know whenever I talk about it. I can't disclose it. I would get in a lot of trouble.
Okay, we don't want you to do that.
But I can say that they did sign with Invox Financial Institution. That one has been announced. So that is one of our partners. And then another one is going to be, it's a company in Africa that handles micropayments. Basically, they cover 21 states, 21 countries in Africa, and all of their payments are under $100 loans.
Is that's not Kiva or Wala, is it? Get Wala.
I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now. It's drawing a blank on me, but
send it to me later and I'll share it.
Okay. We're going to be taking that one we can. They're going to be able to take it from $0 to $100. Now it'll be up from 100 to 1,000 because once again we can help control some of that liquidity.
So you're saying that by partnering with this other existing establishment that's doing microloans, and we all know how amazing microloans are and what a transformation that can make to people, because it's providing a hand up, not a hand out, right? So you're saying that Celsius Network is enabling this established microloan company that's already doing good to do 1,000 times more good.
Essentially, 10 times more would be
10 times more. Okay, 10 times more. Thank you.
You're talking about cool.
So just tell us that first one again that you're allowed to talk about. Was it in Invox? Did you say? I don't know.
Yeah, in Invox financial institution.
Let's just see, so we don't, while we're talking about it.
Sure.
See if we can find them. I don't know. Maybe it's not going to work. Okay, we'll forget. Oh, there they are. There they are. Invox Finance. These guys. Maybe?
Looks like it, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so does this look like the guys?
I believe, these are the ones, this is what Alex and Keith have told me about. I haven't gone and looked for their actual white paper or company or information. They just told me these facts the other day. Okay, cool. All right, thank you for sharing about that. So this is really about turning the financial institution up on its head then, because we all know they make such a lot of money from loans. First of all, they were, back in the 70s, it really started in earnest, I think, and there've been loans to individuals, loans to companies, loans to countries, which should never have happened. The books were crooked and countries get lumbered. In fact, that's been going on since the early 1900s. Yeah. But now we're talking about completely turning things around, right? And I love this. Their stupidity, your gain. That's cool. That is Alex's. Alex is really aggressive. He walks into a room and he'll basically tell, JP Morgan and all these guys over there, like, I'll go toe to toe with you, because he believes what they're doing is wrong. And he thinks that they shouldn't be taking advantage of our people this way. And he wants to make a platinum for the people, by the people, that actually helps each other, versus giving your money to all these financial institutions like banks and things like that are going to make, an extra $10 billion this quarter instead of, having our crypto space grow. And the thing we focus on is 100 million wallets is his goal. His goal is to bring 100 million wallets into crypto, because the larger the crypto community is, the better it functions and the stronger it'll be.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, very interesting. So you've had some good write-ups. Talk to us a little bit about the community, because you're community manager. So talk to us about how that works. Where do people interact mainly?
Our Telegram has absolutely exploded. We had about 3,000 members maybe 2 weeks ago, and we just broke the 6,300 mark. So we have absolutely exploded on there. Our Twitter is gaining a lot of traction. Our Facebook page, we just started launching I was talking to you a little bit about this, Gleam. So if anybody knows what Gleam contests are, we are giving away 2 tickets to Consensus. It's going to be a conference in May 14th and 15th in New York. You're also going to have the 2 tickets are covered, your airfare's covered, and your hotel's covered. So when you follow these Gleam, this Gleam contest, it basically asks you to like us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, share a tweet, join our Telegram, and you get entries. When you get entries into it, then it allows you we're going to draw a winner. I believe March 25th is the cutoff for our entries. And then you'll get to go to this conference. And this is the largest prize I've ever seen a cryptocurrency give away just for joining a community, Yeah. Do you have our Telegram? Do you use Telegram?
Yeah, of course I do. Let me move this up.
I lost you. I lost Angela's sound, if she can hear me.
There we go. Sorry about that.
All right.
I think I muted myself by mistake. Something many people have tried to do. So here we go. Here's your Telegram.
Okay, so right on the top, it says 2 tickets to consensus right there. It's our pinned post.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've had so many entries already. There's so much love for it. I think that's what's really helping us grow too. Getting people involved, checking out our Telegram, checking out our media. We've had we had Crypto Crow do a write-up on us, and I mean, it's funny because he admits that he is a paid person to do reviews on different companies. And during it, he's like, I don't care if I was paid or not. He literally became almost a fan of Alex throughout the interview. He was just starting to like goo and ga over what this guy's done in his past as a serial entrepreneur. He's done 7 startups, and all of them have been successful. And that's part of the reason why I just feel like he's somebody you can get behind, because he does this for a living. This is what his passion is. His passion is to start a company from the ground up and try to disrupt a market. That is his goal. He started the VoIP thing, where people told him, why do I need voice over internet? I can just call out of the country or call this. And it was $3 a minute to call out of the country. And he's like, well, if you do voice over internet, it would be free and you can call anywhere in the world. So, and this was in, the late 90s when he started coming up with these things. Before it was a vision, right? Like, it's somebody who could see it coming before it actually happened. So if you take VoIP, and now he's saying he wants to make it MOIP, so money over IP instead of voice over IP.
Nice.
That's his new motto. So he's literally a rock star, and that is what got me to join the team. Somebody that I actually felt like I could get behind.
Yeah. Okay. So great. We're going to wrap it up in a minute. I am going to say, if anybody wants to ask any questions, just unmute yourself and ask away. Eric is here. We're happy to answer any questions, so he tells me. So ask all your difficult ones if you want to. I'll see what we've got in the chat as well. So your crowd sale starts on the 15th. So it's any day, really. The current token price, 20 cents going to 30 cents. Yep. Reassure people that think, oh, damn it, I should have done something before. Tell people, where things are right now.
Well, like I said, it was 20 cents with a 20% bonus, but remember, in the U.S. you have to be accredited and you needed a minimum of $10,000. So yes, it's going up to 30 cents, but now the minimum is only $500 to buy in. You don't need such a large stake in one shot. Okay,
and what's the vesting period like?
So the other thing that's really interesting that they did is there are no bounties. There are no referrals. There's nothing for free, essentially, that would allow them to dump the coins on the market. And then also any of the bonus tokens that you receive for the beginning bonus period is locked up for 6 months. So if you got a 20% or 30% bonus, you cannot use those coins. You cannot sell those coins or transfer those coins for 6 months.
Great. So the bonus is locked up for 6 months. But the coins that you buy, you're free to do what you like with that?
Right after the token generation event is going to take place within the first few weeks, right after the end of ICO. And then you are free to do what you wish as soon as we transfer them to you.
Okay, great. Do you know, my due diligence just got a heck of a lot shorter on this crypto, because you've been totally open, and we've got Miko Matsumura as well. I didn't know Miko was an advisor actually until now, so I've got huge respect for Miko. So that's really interesting. Okay, any questions, anybody? The exciting thing about crypto is there are so many teams of highly intelligent people motivated to do the right thing in so many areas. I've got people working on accreditation. So if people work with vulnerable people, that's going to go on the blockchain, so that at the moment, it's about 20% of people that are licensed or ticketed to work with vulnerable people are actually a bit suspect. Getting that information on the blockchain is going to be remarkable. Then we've got lending like this, and we've got health, and there's so many different areas. But when people are so squeezed from money because they're paying far too much in interest, that's just a disgusting way to treat people. So this is revolutionary.
You just triggered something for me that I wanted to mention. When it comes to actually getting the loan, there is no credit that you have to have, because it's an asset-backed collateral loan. So you're not worried about a FICO score or a credit score or running an application or anything like that.
Okay, jolly interesting. Thank you. Now we've got some questions coming in. I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to go to Drew. Drew, I'm going to unmute you if you're good with that. Or you can. Oh, you are unmuted. Go ahead, Drew. What do you want to ask?
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
All right. I got my computer and my phone here. Okay. Yeah, question for Dan. So I'm in that boat. I'm sure lots of other crypto traders are too. I got started I first money in like May of last year, just a couple hundred here and there, and then more heavily like toward the end of the year, and then it went up, and then I held and everything tanked. But I did have like a few trades. I was trying to get used to like the little stop loss. So I'd go to bed and I'd make, I don't know, a little bit, not even $100, but just like little trades there. There are so many transactions now, especially getting moved over into Binance, because of course you got fiat, you got to get into the system. I don't know. I'm freaked out now. Like, with tax time coming up. So what would that look like? By far, I don't think I'm up with. No, I take that back. I think I'm up because of the money that went in early enough. But I have no idea what this is going to look like. How do I even get with my CPA? Are you saying I could download the GDAX reports, which are just like a slew of transactions?
Yeah. So literally for a lot of these exchanges, you can download the account history for all your transactions. And for you, that might be as little as 100 transactions or over 30,000 transactions. And you literally just hand that to your CPA. Most CPAs will be equipped. We are equipped with the software they will have in place where we load all that up and it kind of calculates it for you, kind of like similar to your program that Angela mentioned earlier. But it just really depends on if your CPA is really aware of how to treat that and how to report that properly. But there's no magic trick to it. You just have to download the account history and hand that over, and hopefully they have the program in place to do so. Now, you can also do it by yourself. There's a lot of different companies out there. I think Coin Tracking and Bitcoin.tax are very, very good. They're not perfect. They sometimes don't calculate the fees correctly, and they don't really know the difference between a trade from not a trade, but a transfer from one exchange to another versus a sale. So you just have to make sure that you go line by line and make sure that you're not overpaying on anything, because that's the biggest thing. When usually a lot of people start on Coinbase, they load up on Bitcoin, and then they transfer that to other exchanges and then do other coins there. That exchange from Coinbase to any other exchange, Coinbase doesn't know any better, so it treats that as a sale. Well, it's really not a sale. So those are some of the things that to look out for, and that's kind of where we come in and become valuable for you, because we literally go line by line. But a lot of these softwares do a pretty good job as well. So,
okay.
That's a great question, and that's great advice. Now, we'll just share my screen a minute, because I did mention this earlier, and full disclosure, I've got no financial arrangements either with ZenLedger, but Patrick Larson from ZenLedger is saying that if you sign up now, they're launching, any day. And I think they've got a freemium model as well. And this basically sucks your transactions from the API, sucks it into this tool, sorts it out, enables you to present your CPA with something that might make a lot more sense. So I know there are some other tools as well, but I know they've put a heck of a lot of work into this one. So strongly recommend you test it out.
What's interesting for Drew is he was saying that he bought a lot of his early coins and just held, right? And then you had a couple of things that stopped you out. So were the stop out ones separate trades? Because technically they would be lost. You would have taken a loss if you had gotten stopped out at some point. So those might actually work in your favor versus against you.
Well, after Angela just said it's not cool to talk about how much I'm trying to.
I was trying to get around it.
small amounts. I mean, we're talking like a couple hundred, and
I was trying not to out you in any way.
Well, yeah, and I'd go to bed, and this is like also this is the first time I've ever been into trading, because unlike stocks, you're not paying like $7, $8, $9 per trade. You're just paying fractions of pennies, and it's fun. It's 24/7, and so I'd go to bed. I'd set something. I'd wake up in the morning, and sometimes I'm like, oh, cool, that worked out. I just made $50. I mean, not much. I'm just trying to get used to more of the trading, and so that's what I was, I guess, essentially a trader for that short era of time. That very short period, a couple weeks maybe. And then I hear more about it. Now I'm like, oh no, I just heard someone just told me a horror story about someone going to jail because the FBI. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I'm like, that sounds a little much. I don't know, but I think I have a mess between Bitstamp, between all these like 4 exchanges, just as I was figuring it all out, you know?
Yeah, and Drew, the other thing you need to keep into account is not only the capital gains and losses portion of it, but what method do you want to use to calculate that? So the IRS lets you use the LIFO method, which is last in, first out, or the FIFO method, which is first in, first out. So that depending on the method really changes your outcome from a tax standpoint. So just doing your homework and strategically choosing the right method is also a big key there as well.
Is it possible to go with like someone like you for figuring this stuff out? Because I'm not totally confident that our CPA, she's good. She knows like page and line and all that, and she's very left brain. She's got all that down. But like you, someone like you could take care of that portion of it, and then
absolutely. So
we have
a lot of clients, and I don't want to take too much of the time, but we have a lot of clients that just come to us and say, hey, can you just handle the crypto portion of it? And then we'll hand that to our CPA. And then we have other clients who say, our CPA doesn't know what the heck he's doing. Go ahead and do the whole tax return for me. So we're flexible and we can help you in both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And it's horses for courses. If you don't know that expression, then if you have a racehorse to win a race, and you have a cart horse to do something heavy, and you have a quarter horse to cut out your cattle or whatever. So it's getting the right people around you, isn't it? Getting good people around you that are experts in what they do, and the right tools as well. So it may well be with using something like zenledger.io or something along those lines, but do check that one out as well. Justin's got a question for Dan. Justin, can you unmute yourself and ask it?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
How y'all doing tonight? Dan, I have a question. Like, for instance, if Coinbase didn't report anything on me to the IRS, didn't send anything on me, I'm still required to report myself?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, because the IRS have been playing a little bit of a catch-up game, and they finally, if you probably heard in the news, started to subpoena a lot of the records on Coinbase, and so they kind of went back and forth, and they finally both met in the middle, in where Coinbase is required to give the IRS names, Social Security numbers, addresses, and earnings for anybody who did more than $20,000 worth of earnings, and so. Those people are required. They actually get a 1099-B from Coinbase, and so that gets reported to the IRS. But everybody else also has to report. There's no exception there. Eventually, the IRS is going to get to the point where they're going to get everybody's information, and so it's the conservative approach, and the best approach is to report everything now, because if we find out that the IRS finds out that you haven't been reporting anything for the past several years, you got penalties, fees, and it's just going to be a headache after that. So my recommendation is, whether you made $1, you made $100,000, report everything, and that way you can sleep a little bit safer at night. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Yeah, thank you, Justin. Any more questions on that angle, Justin, or anything else? No. Okay, I think that's really good advice. And I know what Patrick Larson's been saying is, take advantage of any losses. So maybe you were Matt Gox, not that anybody wants to admit that, but, if somebody was Matt Gox, you can put that down, right? And you can use that against any gains or anything. So just try and get everything out of the way. And right now, I know, I don't want to bang on about ZenLedger. It's not my business or anything, but I'm just impressed with it. And I know there are others too. But right now it can suck everything, and you can tidy everything up. And then, like you say, you can sleep at night. Because we need to empty out all this unfinished business from our head so we can focus on the now, especially when crypto moves so fast. So we want to get rid of any sort of, dirty washing or clutter and unfinished business, like maybe taxes that might come back and bite you in the future. It's better to deal with it now, right? It's only going to get harder going forward, I think. Yeah. Okay. So we got people all over the place here. I'm really pleased. We've got Tom here from Bali, and as I said, Oz, and US, and so on. And Jason, as I was going to ask Jason, have you got a question? So Jason is one of our team here in the US. So Jason, go ahead. It's all yours. Ask away. I've unmuted you. Yeah, we've got you.
Hi, Angela. How are you doing?
You're good. Thanks for
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dan, I had a question. I have my retirement account hooked to Coinbase, and I have a wallet for it on there. and I had a separate one for my business account. Now I kept them separate in the wallets. Of course, I mean, I wouldn't think I have to report anything for the retirement account because it's a 401k.
Correct. Right. Correct.
Okay. So I just have to separate the ones for the business account.
Yeah,
okay.
And for the business, are you involved in mining, Jason, if you don't mind me asking, what you're involved in from a business standpoint?
No, it was just a business account that I used for buying. Well, I'm not really trading, just buying and holding for the most part.
Oh, okay. Just want to understand. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
Yep.
Okay, any last thing to add, Dan, about if anybody's involved in mining? Is there anything in particular that comes to mind with that?
So mining's a little bit different, right? Because mining is not capital gains losses. Mining at that point is just considered ordinary income. So the biggest key there is just coming up with all the business expenses that go along with that. You know, obviously the rigs, the video chips, obviously electricity is going to suck so much electricity out of your homes or whatever your case may be. So really coming up with all of those, because that's a really big. That's actually a really good way to offset some of your capital gains and losses, because most of these miners, when they start off, they don't really make money. They spend more money than they make. So taking advantage and capturing that loss to offset some of the capital gains and losses is great for the first couple of years. Got it.
And that's going to be really helpful to one of our people in the US who's just invested in mining rig. We got someone else out in South Africa that does a bit of that as well. So that's you're right to try and put down all of your costs there.
Yeah, that's right. And then especially for the U.S., there's some unique deductions like the home office deduction, some mileage, and some other creative ways where we can kind of lower that down even more, again, to offset some of your capital gains and losses. So it's a strategic game at that point. So yeah.
Got it. Okay. Any more questions? Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up because we've gone over an hour already. It's just so interesting talking with Eric and Dan here. But if we've got nothing else, I think we can let everybody go. I would just say, always take professional advice from the right people for what you're doing. And if you've got a great accountant right now, but he or she is not so familiar with crypto, I really strongly suggest that you talk to somebody that is, or who is rather, because the most dangerous thing is when you don't know what you don't know. You know, when at least you know what you don't know, you can take steps to address it, but not knowing what you don't know is dangerous. And we all know those people that think they know everything, and they're usually the ones that know the least, right? Because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So get your professionals around you. If you want to get in touch with Dan or somebody else who's a proper crypto accountant. Justin, we all wish we knew about Bitcoin earlier. Well, look, I'll tell you a story, right? Because there's two reasons that I got involved in speaking on and teaching about crypto. And one was when we emigrated to Australia in 2010, I knew about Bitcoin. I knew about the blockchain. I was excited about it because I've always been focused on Humanity Plus projects. So Humanity Plus or Humanity Minus businesses. There's only two kinds, right? Either positive for people, planet, and profits for good, or you're not. So I was really excited about this, but we were emigrating, 5 kids, 3 dogs, businesses. So I did nothing. Crazy. However, lots of people that did get involved earlier either sold it and bought pizzas or something else, or got Mt. Gox or whatever. So now is a great time to get involved. And the main reason I got involved now in teaching and speaking is because so many people are getting scammed. You know, all these bloody MLM Ponzi's and frauds and scams. So that's why you're here, because I love to collect good people who are really top at what they do. So take professional advice. If you need some accounting advice, take some accounting advice from somebody that's a crypto accountant. Drew, go ahead, Drew.
Hey, I just wanted to get, while this group of people here are together, what's everyone else's feelings on something like, I started clicking in on some of these newsletters, Tiki Tawari, I think, and then I joined the Altiger report. What else? I don't know, Palm Beach newsletter, 5-minute crypto something. I don't even know what I subscribe to and paid for, and then I still get a barrage of, like 2 emails a day. Is anyone else doing like a third party, or Angela, do I just need to be plugged into, the Easy Crypto group? I mean, what's everyone else doing for, education, trying to get some sort of market sense, maybe a good ICO out there, which I have never gotten in on an ICO, but some good info, maybe top 5 cryptos, not wasting time, stuff like that? What do you say?
I think that's a really good question. Let's go around the room. I mean, who wants to take that? Justin, Ross, Angela, Dan, who wants to talk about this first, and then I'll add my little tuppence worth.
I missed the question.
Okay, so the question is, Drew's saying, so he's signed up for various newsletters like one can do, and there's Palm Beach, and there's Tiki's, and there's James Altucher putting his daughters down, and all the rest of it. What is everybody's thoughts on this? Pump and dump aspects, perhaps, or whatever. What are your thoughts on where you get your info from? Because crypto never sleeps, constant stream of information. So Drew's question is, while we're here in this group, where's good sources for information? Who does what? Eric, you go first.
I was going to ask Drew how he manages to sleep, because for about a year and a half, I don't really know what sleep is, but you have to match the Asian market at night so you can catch their trades. But for me, I have never purchased or paid for a single newsletter, information hub, signal group, none of it. Because by the time you get the information, somebody else has already taken up their position. That's my personal stance on it. Maybe they are trying to be helpful, but some of these reports cost hundreds of even thousands of dollars at times. And I'm just like, why? There's so much information you can get for free. Yes, you have to sift through it and cross-verify information, but part of doing diligence, as Ash would tell us, is to be able to go and do that research and have an understanding for the information versus being spoon-fed it from somebody who's making money off of you. I mean, if you really want to, join CCT. Facebook page. We have 105,000 members who are consistently sharing information. 105,000 people. You get everything from Twitter as fast as Twitter can put it up. It ends up on our page because there's so many eyes on the market. As soon as something happens, somebody's reporting it to CCT.
Yeah, good points. Anybody else want to add to that? I think the problem is the time, isn't it? That's the issue for a lot of people, and it's where do I go to get accurate information? So I know what we do is we try and short circuit that. So I put out my red flags list to everybody. It's all for free, and if anybody tells me about a scam or fraud, a Ponzi, a conference that's listing fake speakers that came up the other day, we got them shut down in 2 days. That was in Australia. They were charging over $1,000 with no refunds. Bastards, absolute bastards. All these crooks and thieves. So the red flags list is the first thing. I reckon you want to do that for due diligence, because if they're on there, you don't go any further, and it takes a second to look at it.
Yeah. So you're somebody that you can even turn to for information like that. And, you're saying you put out your red flag report and things like that. I mean, it's better than paying thousands and thousands of dollars for just an information source. Now, if somebody is teaching you how to trade, if somebody is teaching you fundamental analysis and technical analysis, and they're giving you actual substance, then of course, if you want to pay for a course on crypto, that's completely different. But if you're just paying for somebody to write you a single newsletter once a month of their coins, they already have their position. And I guarantee you they've been accumulating that position for at least 3 weeks up to it. And you're literally going to buy into exactly what they're selling. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, if you could get the newsletters from Palm Beach and Altucher and all the rest of them before they went to print, if you wanted to take part in a pump and dump and make some quick money, and that's not what we do, but if one wanted to do that, you could do that, because as soon as it goes to print, I think it's two types, right? It's either ones, like you said, they've got a position and they're going to pump it, and then everybody's buying it on the way up or at the top, and then it's gone. Or they're just ones that are sexy that everybody's heard about and everybody knows about, but it reassures the people reading in newsletters, because they say, oh yeah, I read about Power Ledger because it was on the news. Well, everybody knows about that already, and it may not be the best time to buy. What you really want to know is who are the good guys, who are going to be the medium and long-term holds with the best opportunity for a good uplift as well earlier. And, and then what's that like? It's like having a personal shopper, really, is to say, which ones are worth me doing my due diligence on, rather than going down various rabbit holes and wasting your time, because life's short, and we can all make a bit more money, God willing, we can do that. We can't get any time back, so it's about the time, isn't it? But jolly good question. Thank you for asking. Have a chat.
People who study technical analysis won't even know the name of the coin. They'll go down the list of on let's say Binance and click coin through coin, and they chart out the actual chart, and they don't care what the name is, because if a coin moves based on hype, then that's not a natural or organic growth in the coin. If a coin's chart comes to, let's say, a bull flag or some type of formation that's recognizable, and then you see a volume spike and you see a breakout, that's a professional trader who read the chart and made his move on the market. Whereas if you're getting an information where the chart's doing nothing, out of the ordinary, and all of a sudden it just gets this green, huge spike out of nowhere, that's not natural. That's not organic, and that's probably some type of newsletter that went out, and all of their subscribers went and bought it and trying to catch a 10% or 20% jump real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Any last words? Eric, you've kindly shared your Telegram link, which is on Telegram. It's Celsius Network, or you can go to celsiusnetwork.io, I believe. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
You can come chat with me in Telegram. I'm in there pretty often.
Right. So Eric the Hammer, we will see you there, and we'll rely on you to keep any of the bad guys out, keep them in order.
I'll do my best.
Thank you so much. And Dan, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for answering those questions. And we all know that, to have a little bit of information is often not enough. You can't fix a broken arm with a Band-Aid, right? So if you've got some tax problems and you need them sorted out, then see if you can get on a call one-to-one, I would strongly suggest, with Dan or with somebody else that you can really trust. But thank you so much, everybody. It's been great to have you here. If you're watching it online, wherever you are, thank you very much. But from me here at Sunshine Beach in Australia, and from our other Aussies here with us, from Tom and Co over in Bali, and for all you lovely Americans and everybody else elsewhere, we will see you next time. It's Annie from Make Crypto Easy. Thanks for taking part, and have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.
Take care.
See you. Thanks.